This is the first piece of technology we're going to talk about. So when you look at this screen, what is it that you see and how do you advise your communities to kind of look at it the way that you look at it?
I think the first thing is the color blocks obviously stand out, which is great. You can see your units, your messages, accounting. Then there's violations, architectural, and work orders. I think one of the best things about this is the accounting portion. A lot of groups that are managed, they don't have access to not only their bank accounts, but they don't even really know what they have in their account. They don't know what checks have cleared. Maybe reconciliation reports haven't been done correctly. So when you click on that accounting tab, you actually see a live number that syncs every night at midnight so that you have some confidence that you know what your balances are and you know what checks have been paid and what checks have cleared and what money is coming from your homeowners.
I think that's important. And then if someone said, "Well, why wouldn't I go to my bank account to look at that kind of information?"
Well, you can, but that's just one small piece of it. You're going to be able to go into your homeowners accounts, kind of see some history. You'll be able to print up reports. You'll be able to process violations. There's also an application that you can put on your phone. So if you're on site, you wanted to do violations, or maybe it's just a work order in the common area, you have a problem, you want to make sure and remind yourself, you can snap a photo and have it on hand. But I think this is just more than a bank account. You have complete 100% functionality of your entire association in one portal.
And by the way, this is the board view, and this is something that we recommend that our board members spend a lot of time in because it is useful. Under the functions of accounts payable, every invoice that comes in has to be coded to a specific account, which enables the coded invoice to then interact with a budget. Technology loves codes because someone could call it landscaping, or they could call it mowing, or they could call it cutting the grass. But if we put a number on each of those three things, then it always represents exactly the same. So when it comes to a budget, you don't have three different line items like mow, cut, and landscape as an example that represents the same thing.
The ledger and the chart of accounts, just like Chris said, this is going to help you with budgeting at the end of the year when you're not trying to untangle way too many codes and too many invoices that were coded incorrectly. This is going to give you actual numbers, which is going to help with your budget. Every piece, in my opinion, plays an important part.
Okay, let's talk homeowner portals. Shannon, could you tell people when you look at this, what do you see?
I think that one of the nicest features is that they see their balance immediately. They're going to see any messages. They're going to see any pending payments. As you scroll down, you're going to see the profile. So if they want to update their email address or add a phone number, maybe they want to add a secondary email address. The next really great feature is the document section. So let's say that they need a certificate of insurance and they need to reach out to the board to get that COI. Everything's going to be in the document section that the board has put in there. So they'll have a copy of the financials, their CC&Rs, their bylaws, their plat maps, all of the governing documents, a copy of the current approved budget. And it's a very simple portal. There isn't a whole lot of flash or bells, but I don't think many homeowners want that. They want what they need. They don't want to spend hours on this. They want to get in, they
No.
want to pay their bills, they want to grab a document, they want to close out and be done. And that's what this does.
There's actually three technical methods for payment. There's debit card, credit card. Both of those two hold a fee, and then there is ACH, which is at no fee. Here is the audit trail for this individual person. So anytime a message is sent out and it's received and it's opened and it's either is dealt with, anytime any message is received around violations, work orders, or architectural requests, it's captured here in the entire history of this audit trail. And so that's what we're talking about. When we put everything in one system, now that becomes reportable, and you can know who received it, who went out, all of those things.
When you go into your document section, you're going to see that there are boxes that you can create. You're going to have the ability to mark it as private or public. So there may be some things such as executive meeting minutes that the homeowners should not have access to, and that's going to be labeled as private, and only the board will have access to those. Some of the other items, such as community events or an approved budget, or anything that you would openly invite the homeowners to view, you're going to mark that as public, and then it's going to populate in their homeowner portal. The goal is to have all of your documents that you're keeping in your personal email, of which you should not do. Those are
Right.
board business. It should not be in your personal email. And then create folders so that all of your board HOA business can be under one roof, which is all in the document section. There are different ways that you can communicate with your homeowners. You can email, you can text, you can call. So along the side, you can see where you would go ahead and choose select all. And then you would go up to the top and you would hit email or text, and then you would type in whatever you want to say and you would hit send. So it would send a mass communication. But you can also put tags. So if you wanted to send something to only a small group of people, maybe you have renters, maybe you have people that are on short-term rentals, you would be able to select that tag. That way the whole community doesn't get everything every time.
And I've heard communities say that when they have like clusters of condos, that they put each cluster, each building in its own tag. So when maintenance is going to happen at one building, the rest of the buildings aren't notified, and that makes it just really clean. Above and beyond just the mail, email, text, voice, and then posting to the portal, there are campaigns, and all a campaign is a series of communications over a longer period of time. Like every week, you can put out something, you can set it up, and it'll just run automatically. Communication's big, and again, back to the audit trail and keeping everything recorded, it's absolutely huge. If you don't have the proper information, it's really hard to make a good decision.
Unfortunately, when boards can't make decisions because they don't have all of the information, the financials become delayed, the boards hesitate to move forward, which makes the homeowners nervous, and then there is a complete 100% breakdown of transparency. And this is when you end up having issues with homeowners. You want to make sure that the board is set up to be successful, and be prideful and proud when you go to your board meetings that you've got everything in order.
That's right.
And it builds trust with your homeowners.
If any of these sound familiar, that is a good sign. It is worth having a conversation. Most boards that reach out to us tell me afterward that they wish they had done it sooner. The hardest part is usually just deciding to look into it. You can start at communityfinancials.com, our website. There's a scorecard where you can see how your current setup stacks up, and a cost calculator that shows what your community's accounting is actually costing you right now. If you want to talk through what a transition would look like for your community specifically, we're glad to have that conversation.